Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. In this video, I'm going to talk about the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled as Karma Yoga. This chapter has 43 verses. In this chapter, Lord Krishna primarily talks about Karma Yoga. In fact, all the chapters from chapter 1 to chapter 6 basically talks about Karma Yoga, or more specifically from chapter number 2 to chapter number 5 is all about Karma Yoga. So what is karma? In my previous video I had discussed about this, but just a recap, the word karma can mean different things in different contexts. The most basic meaning of karma is action. Karma also can mean the reaction to the action. Karma can also mean the cycle of action and reaction. The chain of action and reaction is also karma. Karma can also mean a fruitive activity. Fruitive activity is that activity which you do with the intention of getting the result, and thereby which binds you to the activity, or you are attached to that activity, or you are attached to the fruits of that activity. That is also karma. In this chapter, it begins with 2 verses from Arjuna. In the previous chapter, just a recap so far, in the first chapter we see that the battle is about to begin, and seeing the soldiers of the opposite party, Arjuna gets into depression and he refuses to fight. In the second chapter, Lord Krishna starts speaking his message, and the second chapter is basically divided into sections, such as the first 10 verses is Arjuna's bewilderment, and then Krishna begins speaking about the signs of the soul, or Sankhya Yoga, and then the next few verses Lord speaks about Sakam Karma, or fruitive activities. Then Lord goes on to speak about Nishkam Karma Yoga, and finally in the second chapter Lord speaks about the qualities of a Sthita Pragya. So in the second chapter Lord has already touched upon Karma Yoga. In the second chapter, if you remember, in verse number 49, Lord Krishna had instructed Durena Hyavaram Karma Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya, in which he says, O Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, stay away from all abominable activities by Buddhi Yoga, or devotional service. Now in the third chapter, Arjuna has a question regarding this verse from the second chapter. So the verse number 49 of second chapter, Arjuna is asking a question right at the beginning of the third chapter. So Arjuna, Lord Krishna says, stay away from all abominable activities. Durena, here avaram karma. Avaram karma is abominable activity. So Arjuna says, Lord, my dear Lord, you asked me to stay away from all abominable activities, but yet you are telling me to fight. Now Arjuna's confusion is because he equated fighting to abominable activity. According to Arjuna, fighting was an abominable activity. So Krishna's instructions seemed contradictory. On one hand, Krishna is saying, stay away from abominable activity, Durena Hyavaram Karma, and then he's saying fight. So according to Arjuna, killing and fighting is abominable activity. So he should stay away from war. He should retire into the forest and meditate, or, but according to Krishna, what is abominable activities? Abominable activity is a fruitive activity which one does with the intention of getting some material benefit. That is abominable activity. Any material activity which is done with the intention of getting some material gain, which thereby binds you to the activity, is abominable activity according to Krishna. But Arjuna could not understand that, and hence he had this question. So Arjuna, the third chapter begins with Arjuna's question. Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tad kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi Keshava. So Arjuna says, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare when you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? So that is the question. And then Arjuna goes on to say the second verse also. He says, Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohaya siva me tad ekam vada nishchitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. Arjuna says, my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instruction. Therefore, please tell me decisively what is most beneficial for me. So, on one hand, according to Arjuna, on one hand, Krishna is glorifying Jnana Yoga. On the other hand, Krishna is asking Arjuna to do karma. So, which should I do? Should I become a Jnana Yogi, or should I be a Karma Yogi? Or more crudely put, Arjuna is asking, should I go to the library and sit and read and study and become a Jnana Yogi, or should I fight? And that is a Karma Yoga, according to Arjuna. So here, this is an important question. However, one has to understand the difference between Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. Gaurang Charan Prabhu, who wrote the Subodhini series, Bhagavata Subodhini, Gita Subodhini, he said that, he gave an example to understand this. He says that when you are in college, when you are studying for some degree, okay, you are studying to become an engineer or a doctor or whatever, you have to attend the classes. You have to have a certain minimum attendance. You have to come to the classes, you have to attend the lectures. But if you have already passed your exams, you have already received your degree, then you don't have to come to attend the classes, because you already have your degree. So a Jnana Yogi is like that. He has already acquired his degree. He's already passed the exam. So he does not have to do his prescribed duty, a Jnana Yogi. However, a Karma Yogi has not yet received his degree, or so to speak, as an example, he has not received the Jnana, so he has to do the prescribed duty as laid down by the Shastras. The Shastras has given duties for all different varnas and ashramas. So a Karma Yogi has to do his prescribed duties, which will lead him to the platform of Jnana, and thereby once when he acquires Jnana, he will have Vairagya, detachment. Is that clear? So a Karma Yogi has to do his prescribed duties, and when he does the prescribed duties, he becomes purified slowly and he attains to Jnana and Vairagya, knowledge and detachment. But a Jnana Yogi is already there. He has already arrived. Therefore, he does not have to do his prescribed duty. So, Krishna is encouraging all from in the first section, chapter number 1 to 6, basically throughout, Krishna is encouraging one to do the prescribed duty. One should follow the scriptural injunctions and be a Nishkam Karma Yogi. One cannot prematurely assume that one has got jnana. That would be not a good recommendation. So one has to follow the prescribed duty. In the purport of this chapter, the verse number 1 and 2, Prabhupada makes it this point clear. Prematurely, when one wears the saffron robes of a sannyasi, you see, you can outwardly change your appearance. You can look like a sannyasi. You can wear the saffron robes. And you can go to the forest and you can meditate and you can try to be a jnana yogi. However, it is dangerous. Why? Because even without your knowing, inside you, there could be seeds of desires inside you which you are not aware of. So what happens is that outwardly you have donned the robes of a renunciate, a sannyasi, and then you are going to in a secluded place to meditate. But these desires, the seeds of these desires are going to sprout and you are going to get the lusty desires in your mind. Now there is a dilemma because outwardly you have become a sannyasi, but inside your desires are still there. So you will be forced to fulfill those desires in the secret, which will result in an even more severe sinful reaction. Previously, when you were in the marketplace, when you were in the material world, when you were a grahastha, if you had fulfilled your desires, yes, you will be bound by those actions, but the result or the reaction is not so severe. But once you have adorned the robes of a sannyasi, you have declared to the world that you have renounced the world and you have gone for meditation. But those desires, the subtle desires which are still there, are going to sprout. Therefore, Krishna recommends that you follow your prescribed duty. You follow the path of Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, where every action that you do is an offering to the Lord, which will not bind you to that action, which will not bind you to the fruits of the action, because you're doing action as an offering to the Lord and you're doing a Nishkam Karma Yoga. So Arjuna was understanding renunciation in a different way, which is what most of us, we get confused with this. When we think of renunciation, we think that physically pulling out of an activity, physically leaving the world, leaving your house, going to the monastery, that is renunciation. That is what most of us think. But in this section, Krishna makes that point clear. The action, renouncing an action is not what is recommended, but renouncing the intention behind the action. When we perform an action, what is our intention behind the action? That is important. See, outwardly, you can see two people doing the same action. Two people, A and B, are doing the same action. They are both cooking. Outwardly, they are both cooking. But A is cooking for himself to satisfy his senses, while B is cooking to offer that food to Krishna. So he is cooking for Krishna. The action is same. Both are cooking. but one is doing for himself, thereby he is getting attached to the action, thereby he is engaging in a fruitive activity which binds you to the material world, while B is doing action in Krishna consciousness, which is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So why Nishkam Karma Yoga is so strongly recommended? Because we are not yet in the Gyan Yoga stage and we need to purify ourselves first. So doing Nishkam Karma Yoga over a period of time will purify us and take us to the platform of knowledge and renunciation, Jnana and Vairagya. So Jnana Yoga or Sannyasa does not mean leaving the world. So in Gaurang Darshan Prabhu has put it in this section, liberation or bondage is not determined by one's activity, but it is determined by one's consciousness in performing those activities. It is your consciousness that is most important, not the activity. Renunciation is not actually giving up action, but giving up the attachment to the action or results of the action. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.